For dinner tonight, I'm cooking pot roast with candied yams and mac and cheese. I haven't had pot roast in a minute and I was really craving it tonight, so I'm gonna start by chopping my veggies. I'm going in with 4 carrots, 6 celery, 1 yellow onion, and about 6 cloves of garlic. This is a 4-pound chuck roast, and I'm only gonna be cooking 2 pounds, so I'm gonna cut it in half, throw that in the fridge, and cut this into 3. Pat those dry, and I'm gonna make a base seasoning blend using salt, pepper, garlic, onion, smoked paprika, and cayenne. Generously season each side of your meat. I like to really pat it in and give it a massage. Now that they're seasoned down, I'm gonna let those rest on a wire rack and prep my Dutch oven to sear them in. I recommend using avocado oil so it doesn't burn as easy, and we're going to sear those on each side for 1 to 2 minutes. Once they have a nice brown crust, I'm going to remove those and add about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Keeping the heat on medium, I'm going to cook that down for a few minutes, add my veggies, and after about 5 more minutes, I'm going to throw that garlic in. Now I'm going to add the rest of that base seasoning in, along with caramelized onion butter, Italian steak, smoked paprika, and cayenne. Stir those seasonings in, and now I'm going to add a half a bottle of red wine and let that cook down for a few minutes. Add a little better than bouillon beef base and an herb bouquet using rosemary and thyme, and then drop your meat right in there. Add 4 cups of beef stock, and we're going to cover that and let it simmer on low for about 3 hours. In the meantime, I'm going to prep my sides by shredding 2.5 pounds of cheese for my mac and then washing and peeling 6 sweet potatoes. Starting with the mac and cheese, we're going to melt down 3 tablespoons of butter and season with salt, pepper, garlic, smoked paprika, and cayenne. Let those melt into the butter, and we're going to add 3 tablespoons of flour to make the roux. Slowly whisk in 1 can of evaporated milk, and yes, this is Chef Teeny's recipe. It has never failed me. Add in a few tablespoons of Dijon mustard, then slowly whisk in 2 cups of heavy cream. Cut the heat to low and slowly but vigorously whisk in half of that shredded cheese, and you really want to put your wrist into it. Finish it off with some more smoked paprika, cayenne, and caramelized onion butter. All there's left to do now is give it a good mix and then fold in your cavatappi noodles. I love how goopy the cheese sauce gets, and that cayenne pepper I added really gave it a nice kick. I'm going to add half of my noodles to a baking dish and then add half of that cheese and then layer it again. I'm going to bake this in the oven on 350 for 25 minutes, and in the meantime I'm going to attend to these yams. Cut your sweet potatoes into chips, and in a medium-sized saucepan add a stick of butter. Melt that down with 3/4 cup of brown sugar, then add some cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger. I like to add about a tablespoon of vanilla extract and then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Add a half a cup of white sugar, give it a good whisk, and then you want to juice in 1 navel orange. Throw your sweet potatoes into that sauce and simmer covered with a steam hole for about 8 minutes. Turn it down to warm, stir and cover for another 10 minutes, and your yams will be fork tender. While that does its thing, I'm going to check on my pot roast, remove that herb bouquet, and I'm going to shred that meat. I like to shred mine in a bowl to get a good consistency and then throw it back in. Now I'm going to finish up these yams by adding the sweet potatoes to a casserole dish and then stirring that sauce over medium heat to thicken it up. Pour that all over your sweet potatoes and you're good to go. Now I'm going to pull this mac and cheese out of the oven, and y'all, look how goopy that is. I'm serving my pot roast over white rice to soak up all that juice, and now I'm going to load my plate on down with these yams and the mac and cheese. This is one of the best comfort plates in my opinion. I love how the yams sweeten up the plate. The meat is insanely flavorful. The mac is super creamy with the perfect amount of kick. And y'all already know this plate was making some crazy noises.